Episode 12 of The Well Show with Equity Kings. Welcome to The Well Show with Equity Kings. My name is Tumisho Ramodisa and I'm accompanied by my co-host Sebonga Chuma. Welcome to the show, guys, and we're going to be talking about oil, Saudi Arabia, the oil sheiks, etc., etc. So a quick market update. Oil is above $80 a barrel. Brent crude oil is above $85 a barrel. Gold is actually above 1800 for the first time in a long time. And it usually doesn't hold this 1800 level. It usually just stays there for a day or two and then it just goes down. But it's holding it pretty solid and gold seems to be taking off. So maybe this could be start of a bull market. Not for the reasons that people think, because people think, oh, it's inflation. No. And just with the CPI data, I think we'll talk about the CPI data later. I am constantly listening to music every single day, 24/7, and the one place that I trust the most is Apple Music. The benefits of using Apple Music is that you can listen to over 75 million songs ad-free with zero commercials, plus get unlimited downloads to your library and listen anywhere without Wi-Fi or using data. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. They have a 3-month special for free, so you can listen to Apple Music for 3 full months for free, and then you can choose whether to pay or not. And it's extremely affordable. So click the link in the description to sign up and enjoy listening to quality music for free. So what are you waiting for? Sia, what do you have for us, man? What do you have for us? I heard you wanted to talk about oil. Let's hit it. Let's hit it, man.
Okay, the oil price is currently standing at $4 per barrel. And looking at the data, yesterday, United States crude oil inventories came in at 1.1. That is the actual data. And the consensus or the forecast was estimated at 2,125 million, of which previously was 3,291 million. So let's break this down. What does this mean? It's been a year and 9 months since the coronavirus pandemic happened, and we saw the oil price historic lows of around $7 per barrel. And then after that, as we all know, the government came in and propped up stocks and gave out stimuluses. I'm sure everybody's been hearing that. But today, the 11th of 2021, the price of oil currently $84. What a significant rise in a very short time for the oil price. And what does this mean for the oil future? What is the forecast? Or perhaps early next year, or before the first quarter ends? That was the prediction and estimation. And yesterday we had crucial data come out of the United States, of which is the United States crude oil inventories. So the actual numbers came out at 1,001 million, of which the forecast or outlook was 2,120 million, the 2,125. This is the estimate. And then the previous actual number is 3,219 million, of which, if we can do the math here, let me just see quickly, we already have a 2 million decline of this crude oil inventory. So firstly, as a listener, you'd like to know, what are crude oil inventories? So the word crude oil inventories means that oil is pumped out and refined, and then it is only stored. It's stored and it is not used. It's just oil that it's stored. It's just kept there as stock, backup, collateral, perhaps, if you'd like to put it. But it's oil that is not being used, but it has already been extracted. So a decrease in this number, what does it signify within the economy? It signifies that a demand is picking up as we are going season. A lot of people are going to be booking vacations. A lot of people are going to be traveling. And then comes the significant part. As you can see, the demand is rising, right? Now for oil. And funny how if you can look at oil price, if we're going to speak about South Africa, oil prices, I think it was last week, all or 2 weeks back, the price
Yeah,
went up.
yeah,
So I
19.
think yeah, 1928, right, to the
Yeah,
liter. Hmm. So
and yeah,
that is a big significant rise, because no oil, no economics, null and void. Oil is the gas of economics because oil provides a resource to provide certain goods and services. So,
true.
do you have
And
anything to add on for?
think about it. Think about it like this. Imagine no oil, no economy. You know why? Because people like Biden, people like the World Economic Forum, they want to ban oil, right? Because, oh, climate change, yeah, climate change this. And so they want to rain on oil companies. And that's so stupid. It's going to have unintended consequences. One reason is, and this is also why I think oil is going to, I'm a disinflationist, right? I don't believe we'll have inflation like right now. I don't think we'll have inflation, but what I do believe is oil. I am very bullish on oil despite my disinflationary views, because the government is going to most likely ban oil or start or cram on the production of oil because maybe regulations, maybe stuff like that. But why do I think oil is going to go up is because the government, as the government regulates oil, they'll end up banning it. Obviously, maybe by 2030 they'll end up banning oil. And so when you ban it and then you force everyone to use electric cars, remember, not everyone is going to use an electric car. Not everyone. You see, and let's not forget that many people use oil is not just for petrol and cars and whatever. It's also used in plastic. It's used, like, it's basically used in everything. I mean, yes, most of the demand comes from cars, so you get rid of that demand in cars. But think about it like this: if, for example, 70% of demand for oil comes from vehicles, and that is taken over by electric vehicles, for instance. So 70% of oil demand has gone, and say, yeah, oil is going to crash because there won't be demand for it because the government forces everyone to use cars. So let us assume that's the case, right? 70% of oil's demand is gone. But also, don't forget that they've banned the production of oil. So virtually there is no production of oil at all. And therefore, if there is no rigs and there is no extraction because of climate change and people are fighting for climate change, there will still be that tiny demand of oil, that 30% demand of oil that will remain. And therefore, if that happens and there's no production, prices will go way up for oil. I think someone even predicted that oil could reach 100,000 per barrel because of this. So when you think about it like that, the future for oil is bullish in my opinion. And I think oil is going to the moon. I think people who still use petrol cars in the future, or gas cars, or those kind of cars, diesel, they're gonna pay high prices. In my opinion, that's what I think.
Okay. But you see, you're not providing any solutions with that matter. People should drive electric cars. I feel like electric cars will have a much more severe damage to the environment because the
What
technology is not
cars?
only there.
You mean electric cars itself?
Yeah, themselves, because obviously they're going to require a lot of burning coal in it.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I'm not saying electric cars is the solution. I'm not making the case for electric cars. In fact, I will never make a case for electric cars, because as much as people claim that this is clean energy using an electric car, it's not. Because think about it, electric cars need battery, right? You need to mine
Yeah.
the lithium first. So most of the lithium is mined, and it takes out a lot of CO2. It emits a lot of CO2. Number one, if you compare, if you want to look at the statistics, the production, just the production alone of an electric car takes more CO2 than to produce a gas car, a petrol car. When you produce an electric car, just to make it, it takes more CO2. And then only when you
Mm.
start using it, that's when the gas car takes more CO2 than the electric car, because the electric car is not emitting much CO2 because it's using electricity. But we also have to consider the fact that where is that electricity coming from? That electricity is most likely coming from coal or natural gas. So it's not really clean because the electricity itself has to come from somewhere. If we all use electric cars, that's going to be a huge demand boost in electricity. And therefore, that means we have to burn more fossil fuels. And I'm not saying fossil fuels are good. I'm not saying they're bad either, because fossil fuels is what decrease poverty. I mean, industrial revolution, that thing dramatically decreased poverty. If we didn't have the industrial
Hold
revolution,
that thought.
with all
Hold that.
areas.
Hold that. Can you hold that thought before you stray away from the conversation? I just like to ask you your opinion on this whole load shedding that's been happening in South Africa, that is currently taking place. I mean, I'm sure you have something to say. Would like to hear your thoughts. Preferably share with us, please.
Yeah. With load shedding, what I think is, obviously, all of us think, for those who are not South African, or those who don't live in Africa, maybe the Americans who are listening, our fellow Americans, people from Europe, I'm sure you guys don't experience blackouts as much as we do. I mean, blackouts here is like every single month you're gonna get it at least a few times, every single month. And it's not because people don't pay. Okay, yes, in some areas in South Africa, like townships like Soweto, I mean, people don't pay. Some people don't pay. And then everyone else who does pay has to suffer. And so they get a lot of power outages. But I'm saying when the whole country gets power outages, I mean, it happens a few times a month, but it's really bad and people pay. So what's my take on ESKOM and load shedding is, first of all, the reason why there's load shedding is because of corruption. So many people who like big government will say, yes, corruption is the problem and we just need to get rid of corruption and then load shedding will be solved. Well, that's not true, because corruption is a function of big government. So the bigger the government gets, the more corruption you're going to get. It's a fact. Because when you give the government more power, you give it more power to be corrupt. Whether you like it or not, power corrupts at the end of the day. So more power means more corruption. So I don't understand how corruption is not a function of big government, because it is. So my solution is, you should privatize electricity. Think about it like this. And I was talking to my friends about this. It was during load shedding, ironically, this week, around Monday, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. So we're busy playing Ludo. I'm not sure, see, are you aware of that game, Ludo? Where you just, it's on the board.
I know. Ludo's
Yeah.
it's a classic
We were
board
playing
game.
Ludo.
Classic
Yeah,
board
no,
game.
that game is legendary. So we're playing Ludo there, and then we're just talking about load shedding. And I was like, okay, this is the solution. The solution is ESKOM should be a private entity. And not only, ESKOM should not be the only source of electricity that we get in South Africa. We should have other sources like other companies, so that we can boost competition. Because if there's competition, remember, a business runs with a profit. So a businessman has to be greedy. And that greed actually helps us, because it makes us more productive, because that guy is greedy. So since he wants profits, he will make sure he does anything to get the profit. So he has to provide proper electricity with proper services, because if he doesn't, then people will go elsewhere to a different business. You see, people will pay electricity at a different business.
So what Dumisho is so basically what Dumisho is saying here is that there should be competition in certain companies or private companies of which are going to supply electricity. In that way, if we have competition, greed is inevitable because we have a market.
Yeah, good. And greed is actually a good thing, despite what people say. I mean, yes, people think about greed as, oh, you guys are
But take into consideration there's a certain type of monopoly that is actually tied to politics, of which I personally would not like to. I'm not really a politics person, but
we got into it. We actually got into it in our third episode of the World Show. I think it was in season 1. We spoke about a government monopoly. You guys should check it out. Yeah, you guys should check it out. It's the third episode, government monopoly. Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys. In the next episode, we'll just get into some politics a bit. I know some of you guys might not like politics, but I mean, we all have political opinions at the end of the day. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a scientist, you could be a doctor, you could be man, you could be a cleaner. Everyone has an opinion on politics, and we don't want to offend anyone. We just want to speak what we think is correct, or what I think is correct. I mean, most of you guys know me and CIA. We sometimes we don't have the same views, but okay, we'll see. But yeah, stay tuned for the next episode, guys.